Need to have a look at this because there's been obviously quite a lot of progress made with the Unreal Engine, which is what I'm using, and the wiki. So at the minute, if you look at this, this is my lighthouse. This was version 2, and this was the lighthouse keeper's house version 2. Now I've moved on to version 3, so if I go to my, let me think, I think it's keeper house 1, is it? Let's have a look. Content, days, and let me just adjust these thumbnails because they're far too small. Here we are. So could be workbench. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look here, file, recent, and workbench LH dev. Okay, I don't need to save anything. Now, if you're not aware of what I'm doing, I am currently making a video game thriller adventure thing. Okay, so I don't tend to go into too many details because I don't. Right then, so as we can see, this is basically the main change that's been done now. Okay, there's quite a lot of change. So if I was to come to maybe here, and I'll set my camera speed up to about 4 and just play from here. Okay, there's a lot of work needs to be done still. Now we can see here, oh, that isn't there. Okay, so if I go into my levels, and I need to make sure that the lighthouse, so I've got my keeper lighthouse, and this and this. Okay, so let me see. Now I want to right click, and I can make it so that this is constantly loaded if I want to. So streaming method, like always loaded. Okay, and now I'll save it. And the same for the keeper house. This is just for the moment though, so streaming method always loaded. Now the idea of this is that later on, when I want to, I'll be able to turn this on and off when I'm visiting scenes, but for the minute it's kind of useful to have them turned on constantly. So now if I press play, you'll see that I am inside of the game and able to actually go inside the house. And yes, it is very dark at the moment, okay, but it'll get less dark. Now we can see there's some errors here that I need to fix, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do a quick plot about. That isn't an error, but I could do with making it a little bit less, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is there, but a little bit less of whatever it is anyway. Now let's go up here. And again, I'm trying to avoid anything that looks a bit too American, because this is supposed to be kind of Scottish, so I've gone for a very kind of traditional build look with this. Now we can see the observatory over there. This is the house that belongs to the observatory. Hello viewer, I hope you're doing well. I'm going to have access to all the various bedrooms and things, so that's all fine. There is a little bit of tearing going on that you may have noticed, but I'm not too concerned about that. Okay, so I can see there are some areas in this that will need to be cleaned up for sure. Now let's go back to the staircase. That's going to have to be cleaned too. Always things to keep an eye out for when you're doing this kind of job, so just to be aware of it. Now I have got a single light in here just because I wanted to check how it looked, and it looks lovely, so I'm pleased about that. The walking footstep sound is far too loud in my humblest of opinions, but I will be getting rid of that. But overall, I just wanted to check that everything's kind of working the way it should do. Okay. Now, one other thing that I'm going to need to do, if I come over here, this is where it will be done, is that part there really needs to come up to here. Okay, we don't have a door for this. Now, what I might do is run a staircase down to here. I'm not sure yet, because the idea is that we have two different kinds of architecture that have been separated by each other by quite a large amount of time. So it's something to keep an eye on. Okay, now I'm going to exit this, and what I want to do is I want to find my skybox. So I'm going to go to Sky, and there's my Sky Dome Auto, and I'm just going to adjust this directional light. Just make it a little bit brighter for the time being. I can always move it back later if I want to. Okay, now what I want to do next is I want to come in here, and again remembering it's very dark, so I'll change this to unlit. Okay, now down here was where we had some errors or some problems, so let's fix these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some moves and probably bind this to, well, it's already on 1, so that's fine. There we go. And this one. Now what we can see here, okay, is that I do have the ability really to scale this in should I wish to. So I'm going to scale that a little bit. Okay, I'll unscale it a little bit as well. There we are. Okay, just so that we lose these holes. Now here, okay, which is where this part is, what I can do is I can move this bit along to here, and as you see we're going to get Z fighting, depth fighting going on here, which we don't want. So I'm going to make this shorter, just slot that onto there, okay, and then we lose that piece of gap. Now let's come through here, and inside here I want to adjust the position of this because at the minute it's a little bit too large, so I move that to there. Now as you can see there is a space there that I don't really want, so I'll put that about there, and that should hopefully start filling some spaces. There's one on this side as well. I'm not that fond of that space. Let's see if there's any other workaround we can use for this rather than just that. Okay, because that isn't ideal. So if I get this bit of wall, and because of my colour blindness I have real problems finding my little what do you call it, my little cursor, and I'm going to move this over to here. Okay, now come in nice and close and see if that gap is properly filled in or if there's a nasty space, and you can see there is a nasty space, so there we are. Hello second viewer, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Please feel free to say hello in the live chat. Right then, let me see, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I wanted to make sure there was no Z depth fighting. So let's get rid of this, okay, because we don't need it now. And I can see that this piece is still not quite right. Okay, you can see it's not quite flush, so there, that should fix it. And now I can see what the problem is. The problem is that this piece isn't flush. So what you'll often find that can be quite, not soul destroying, but sometimes a little bit frustrating, is that parts of your mesh can get a little bit confused, you know, because you'll need to keep tweaking bits of it and stuff. So just be aware of that. Now let's have a look at this. Yeah, I had a feeling there was a bit of a hole in there. It goes all the way over to there. So we also have a little bit of a hole here, so why don't we just fix both simultaneously. So if I get, again, my invisible cursor here, if we get that, I should be able to start straightening up the floor. There we go. Now, still a little bit of a space there. Oh, cancel. Still a little bit of a space there, so there we go. Just adjust that to there, and then I should be able to get rid of that. Okay, because I'm just trying to get rid of parts of my mesh and my overall layout that really for me aren't kind of cutting it. Okay, now here we can see there's a little space, so I don't need a little space. I'm going to move that just till it intersects with the wall. There we are. Okay, let's have a look over here, make sure there's no nasty gaps. And I can see there is a nasty gap, so let me just move this out of my way, and instead, again, just making sure that things kind of match up wherever possible, I need this to come across over to here. There we are. Let's have a look. Now that's a little bit offset. There, that's much better. Okay, so we're just looking, getting rid of any nasty little holes that we don't want. Now, we still have some things up here that are probably going to need to be got rid of. But we can work on those soon, so that's not a problem. Now, let us continue on our journey around this house. Now, I've got a feeling there's a space there, and there is. Now, if I look outside the house, I just need to basically make some modifications to the shape, because this room has a lot of weird little holes in it. Okay, now that's going to need to stay where it was. So I'm going to get rid of this part for the moment, just so I can kind of look at it. And we can see that that's completely offset there. So I need to really consider moving this in unless there's a good reason for it to be as offset as that. So let's see what it does for our doorway, make sure it's not screwing anything up. And it isn't, so that's great. So, are you guys watching doing okay? Are you well? I hope so. Now, I am going to check out this room. And I saw there that gap, you see? Which we really don't want, obviously. So, let's move it along a little bit. See if we can just cover it all. And this thing isn't quite wide enough. Okay, well, a couple of things we can do there, and one of them is certainly to make it wider. So there we are, now it's wider. Just like Wadney. Okay, so with things like that we can get away with doing that kind of detail. Now here we've got this kind of offset corridor, and again, for anyone who's an architect kind of looking at this and going, oh, the shapes. Okay, I've been into enough British old buildings like this to attest to you that this is pretty much exactly what they end up like. Okay, there's a problem in the building, you know, what is it they call it, gumi in Japan? We don't knock it down, we just put another one on, you know, that's just the way it is. Right, this has no reason really to be in that position, so let's move it out. There we are. Cool. Okay, so that leaves our floor now a bit more clear. This funny little rail thing here, I've had many houses that have this funny little rail thing, so I'm not too worried. Okay, next. In fact, I'm not even remotely worried, to be fair. I'm just going around and checking the layout. I mean, even the little house that I live in here, you know, we have these odds and ends, just bits where parts have been built over to create this. And I'm not going to go and create an attic because I don't need one. Okay, I mean, you know, maybe further down the road I will. Now, I considered coming out of there and being able to get into here, but that is such an odd way of doing it. So I think the best way of doing this is almost certainly going to be building a new staircase up to it. And then inside here we have the various floors that make up our beautiful lighthouse and the Fresnel light. Okay, so that's working just fine. Now then, in here I've got some more work to do on that soon, so I'll come to it. Right, so with that kind of working for me, now I need to have a look over here. And if I look at this and that, I'm probably going to have some gardens over there, so for the time being, do I need these? And my guess would be probably not. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of those, and then my second question would be, do I need these? No, that is more of an interesting question. Let's try and get rid of them. And instead, moving that to there. Now, as long as I don't have a gap in here, which I don't, so that's great, then all is looking okay. Now, over here, where this wall is, I don't really need it, it's not doing anything, so I shall get rid of it. And again, I need to make sure that we haven't got any strange gaps in here. No, we haven't. Fantabulous. Okay, so now all I need is basically a way for Joe end user to get up to here on this thing. Hello, the new bunch of viewers that have just popped in to say hello, including our new follower, Tyzerbale, which is an awesome nickname, by the way. So, good to see you. I have cold, but I don't need to wear a mask because I don't think I'll give you COVID through my microphone. Also, I don't have COVID. Cold? Yes. COVID? Ooh. Right then. So this is now saving. Let's let it save. Okay, and this gives me a good chance to have a brisk look around. Now, I'm going to need some proper walls and fences going along here. Now, originally I had a very kind of slapdash fence, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a much more rigid fence to go right the way across here. Another thing I may do is do some additional work on this, because I like it, but the textures are a little bit low, and also this, which I love but really doesn't have any use at the minute, so I'll come back to that. Now, let me just set up my sky again with my sky dome and my directional light, which is up there. I shall tilt it. I should probably turn the lighting back on. There we go. That way I can check the moodiness of my scene, like that, you see. It all seems to be working out pretty much okay though, so that's cool. Now, cloud. That's Sloud. Look at this volumetric cloud here. Now then, I'm not interested in the cloud bounds. I am interested in the cloud height, however, so let's try and get it down here. Okay. Because the good thing about this is that it literally lets me split the island off. If we're above cloud level, then we're going to see a lot less stuff. Now, speed, position, etc. So let's change speed. And I can also adjust things like the colour and the density. So, make it more or less dense. I'll make it slightly less dense or foggy. Increase the scale to 16. Increase the detail scale to 4. Detail intensity to 0.8. Grid resolution to 256. Okay, just gives us a little bit more accuracy on this, although it does risk slowing us down a bit. Now, the thickness of the cloud is not thick, so let me thicken it to about 10. Okay, so now our cloud is deep and we can come through it. Excellent. And then when we get down here, we should see the cloud at the top, obscuring our view of the top of this this place. So that's good too. Now, what I need to do is go to this rock and look at my sky again. Oops, wrong one. Let me see. So it's not sky atmosphere I need, is it? There we go. And then from here, because again I just want to check on those clouds. The good thing is I can have like a low-lying fog now with this as well, which is going to save me all kinds of real pain in the arse effort, to be honest. Right, so there's our clouds. So if I now look at sun, don't have any sun. Sky, wasn't it? Sky? Here we are, Sky Dome Auto Blueprint. Directional. I'll just increase this. There, yep, that works fine with the fog. Okay, I'm going to increase my speed now. Okay, so I need to increase the distance this fog's working at. Right, so if I click on it, and let me see, density, scale, location, location's everything. Position, height, area. Here we are. So I can increase the area substantially or decrease it depending on what I feel. So I'll make that 2, 4. There we go. So that should increase it. Now then, the fall off distance on this cloud isn't ideal, so can I adjust that as well? Oh man, I'm losing all my visitors because this is really dull. Sorry guys. Don't care. Yeah, it could be this. I'll change it to 32 actually. There we go. Yeah, it is distance based then. So if I'm down here where the player's supposed to be, I can see the clouds are up there, so they're working okay. So can I increase their density? Yeah, but they look weird. Real flipping weird. So I'm going to change that to about 0.22. 0.25. Okay. Lots of tweaking going on, as you can see. The scale made no damn difference, so I'll drop that down to 16. Detail scale. Let's change that back to what it was. Of 1, then we get the little bits and bobs. That's too much detail. 0.5. Okay, grid resolution. Probably don't need it that high. Let's put it at 128. Otherwise it's going to start causing some issues. And then I can have full cloud or just a little bit of cloud. Let's have a lot of cloud. There we are. Nuxed. Speed. Better. It's important to have some speed on this. So let's say 500, 500. That should keep it moving nicely. And then as I come up, and I'm up here in my ship basically looking out across the thing. Cool. Cancel. So where's my cloud gone? There, F. Okay. So come back in here. And decisions. Oh, there's some cloud actually in there. It's pretty cool. Okay, density scale. Scale doesn't do anything. Saturation doesn't do anything. Position, speed, area, height, depth. Oh, area. Let's see if that does it. No. changes it, but it's the distance that we can see it. It's causing the... I'm probably going to have to go to the blueprint and have a look at it. Oh well, this is using loads of scalar values anyway. There's nothing immediately noticeable there that I can use then. I mean, the thing is, when I'm about here, it's not really going to matter so much. All I'm going to see is basically this sea of fog, which I may or may not activate depending. Oh look, they need to be removed as well. Let's have a look and see how it looks from a bit higher up, if I can get up that high. Yeah, it's nice. I can actually work on some variations with that, so I think I'll keep that. And of course the cloud changes colour depending on the time of day, which is pretty cool. Okay, so next thing I've got to do then is I'm going to start building the test. The setup the test, which I'm going to use on this. Now this was Workbench LH Dev, and what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to change streaming method to blueprint. Streaming method to blueprint. There we are. Great. This is going to make things a lot easier. A quick look and see how things are from here. Nice. Okay. I need a flashlight or torch or whatever, so I'll work on that too. And unlike most games, there won't be a battery, because seriously, who uses batteries? How many times have you needed to change the battery in your torch walking somewhere when it's a new torch? Not very often would be my guess. So I'm going to have a torch here. That also needs a clean up. Let's change this to world. Right, that's better. Although I don't think they'd have that as a gangplank because it's too bloody big. Also the boat is facing the wrong way, so there, now it's facing the correct way. Anyway, I'll sort this out soon. Just needs an extension of the jetty slightly, I think, down here, but we'll be fine. Okay, so what I could do with is adding this lot to the key actually. So levels, create a new, and this is going to be completely empty. I'll call it the key. Alright, so move to, no, make current, yeah, it is. should be able to move this directly to the next piece. Move selected actors to level, that's it. Doesn't let me do it when it's hidden, unfortunately, which is, in my opinion, a little bit of a mistake. Never mind. Okay, so start as I mean to go on. If something moves, I need to deselect it as well. And I'm going to drop my speed for movement down to 4. All I'm doing is I'm going around and basically selecting everything that makes up this key. Okay, do the same over here. There's not actually that much geometry inside the key, to be honest, so okay, so again, we select the boat. Key, right click, move selected actors to level. Now if I click that, it hides them. Okay, now I can select some other bits to go in there. It's quite interesting actually, because these are things that I did months ago. And I've kind of forgotten about a little bit, so it's quite nice to be able to work on them again. Okay, next. All I'm doing is just selecting everything that I want moved. I'm going to turn my key back on again. Right click, move them, turn it off. Okay, so as we can see, more and more stuff is getting put through to the key. Control S is to save it. Okay, now barrels, boxes, stuff. Okay, next. Oh, I need to send an email. Let's go to Thunderbird. I'll just do this quickly. And try and find what I'm looking for. Must be over here. It is. So it's over here. Go to there, copy. I need a link, so share. Right then. So honestly, I'm just doing a bit of streaming, but I was just pausing this.
Fair enough. Did Zoe already come by?
No, she hasn't been yet. Right, back to this. So I'm moving everything to my sub-levels. You're welcome to chill out and hang, of course.
I probably will later.
Excellent stuff. Okay, so again, open up the key, right click, move selected actors and hide. There. Okay, that gives me this bit. Great. Okay, that really didn't take long because there wasn't actually that much stuff here, so this is great. Next, I need to unhide that. Right click and move selected actors to the level. There we are. Okay, so now this all hides when I press there. Great. Make sure there's nothing really left here. I think there's some piles of chain. That seems to be about it. So now that's part of this. Okay, now let's have a look over here. Because again, this is all part of the key. A lot of useless crap we don't need over here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebuild these bits. Ooh, sugar lumps. I didn't want to rebuild that bit. There we go. Get rid of that, and that, and that, and that. No real point in having that chain there, and that's got an open polygon in the end, so I don't want it. There. Okay, so next I can now select these tanks, which is actually a lot more tricky than you realise. There we are. And then I'm going to go over here. Let's get these bits added in. Now we've got this pipe that goes all the way up here. Doesn't really need to, but I did it anyway because it looked interesting. And 9 times out of 10, interesting is what we want. There we are. And I'm going to key, right click, and oops, wrong one, move selected actors to the level. And then if I hide that, cool and groovy. Now I can select these, some bollards, like that, this, whatever this is, that, whatever that is. There, now they're moved. Okay, so now this is also a separate streaming level, which means I have the ability to hide and unhide it, which is a massive help. Okay, now let's move my ship. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this yet, so I'm going to leave that about there. Give me a chance to have a look at this big rock. Also give me a chance to see if I actually want the big rock. As you can see, there are some glitchy pieces. Let's see what happens if I get rid of that. Actually, that's considerable improvement. Now I just need something to do here with this, so I think what I'll do is just cancel. Let's go to my persistent level. Because I know what I'm going to put here, interestingly enough. A modification to my existing key. There we go, so that goes there. Now then, this bloody enormous rock there, unfortunately, can't go anywhere, as you can see, because it just ends in this somewhat unnecessary bit of wall. Cute and all, but hello, other viewer, how are you? So I think I'm going to put this back, Control Z, because as you can see there's an awful lot of geometry in this. Now we have a piece over there that probably needs a little bit of TLC. So I'll just put that there. Nice. I will need something to put there probably eventually, but I'll come to it. Okay, so I am going to probably save all. And because I only wanted to pop into this to do a couple of bits, and I've been here for 45 minutes.